right, we'll call our meeting to order. Ask everyone to please stand for Councilman Wood to give our invocation.
Well, gracious and merciful Father, Lord, that we serve. Father, we give you thanks, Lord. Father, we thank you, Lord, for everyone in this building. Thank you, Lord, for allowing this council to assemble once again. Father, we take care of the matter at hand. Everything we do, Lord, let it be pleasing to your sight. Heavenly Father, these are our best in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Got a packed house tonight, so we thank everybody for coming out. Usually don't have this many, and so we're glad that everybody was able to come out with us. But first, we have approval of agenda items.
I move we accept the agenda items as written.
We have a move and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Up next, a presentation for 2019 review of Mary Wright Edelman Library activities. Ms. Bobby Grooms.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, members of council, thank you for having me tonight. This is my 5th year doing this. 5 years this second of this month. So I'm grateful to be of service to this county and grateful for you all to have me up here during the day. And before I get started, I've given you all an infographic and then a picture. But before we get to that, I want to point out a couple things. Next Saturday, February 22nd, 2020, will be the 10th year, can y'all believe it, in our library. I think that's an amazing thing, and we're going to try and celebrate that all year long. We're going to try and do a re-grand opening of the library on March 21st, 2020, just like we did 10 years ago. And so I ask that you save that date and look for an invitation to come out in the mail for that. But if you would, if you'll pull that infographic out, the page that looks like this, I'll go through these things briefly and we'll talk about a little bit of what we got coming up for the next year. In 2019, we served over 40,000 items, and I think that's pretty daggone amazing considering people don't think people use the library anymore. We had over 23,000 books go out, 15,462 DVDs, over 1,500 ebooks, and then we had over 12,800 library card holders. So I think that's pretty significant considering our population, according to 2010, was 28,000 people. We had over 70,000 visits last year to our public library, including 10,459 computer usage, y'all. People are still relying on the public library for service. We do not have access in all of our homes, as you all are well aware. We had over 9,718 Wi-Fi users this past year and 2,300 mobile print jobs. So we got a good bit going on at the public library. As you all know, there are 6 of us that are on staff, and we were able to serve over 14,800 people last year in 2019. I think that's pretty daggone good. And we partnered with over we served 445 programs and partnered with 72 organizations. So I think that in itself deserves a round of applause for what we're able to do with our resources that you're allotting for us each year. And I thank you for supporting us and allowing us to do these things. And we look forward to doing it for many more years to come. So short, sweet, and to the point. Y'all have any questions for me?
What is your bookmobile circulation? What is it as far as where does it go to locations?
All over the county. So we have stops every first Thursday. We go out to, we got stops in McCall, stops in Clio, and stops around Bennettsville. We hadn't came up with a place in Blenheim and Wallace yet, so if y'all have any suggestions on that, I would greatly appreciate those. We don't like to do individual households, but if you have like a community organization, something already established that we can come to, please share them with me.
Okay.
And I'll give you that round of applause.
'Cause, you know,
in the areas that you do travel,
Yes,
are
ma'am.
the people aware that the days that you're coming, you got a schedule, like, let them know the day that you're gonna be in that area?
Yes, ma'am, and we actually, if there's a weather event or something coming up, we send out emails and make phone calls to those places to let them know, because they're looking for us if we don't
Yeah.
show up.
Okay.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
thank you.
Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have approval of minutes for our January 14th, 2020 the council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve January 14 minutes. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Under old business, ordinance 792, an ordinance establishing the Marlboro County Tax Assessment Appeals Board, second reading. Mr. Muller.
Mr. Chairman, this is a second reading of an ordinance that would officially set up a board to hear tax appeals. We've had one in the past, but we needed to redo the ordinance. And it's basically just, if you have if someone wants to challenge the value that's put on their house or their business, they go to the tax assessor's office, and if they're not happy with that answer, then they would go to this board.
For second reading, do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance 792. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Ordinance 793, an ordinance authorizing Marlboro County to enter into an agreement with the town of McCall to provide fire protection service within a designated unincorporated area of Marlboro County. Second reading. Mr. Muller.
This is an ordinance that we normally have been renewing with a resolution, a single vote, but every 3 years it requires us to do a new ordinance. And it's just basically where we give the town of McCall funding to provide fire service around the outskirts of McCall, like we do with Bennettsville. And I have not met yet with the mayor on this, but there should be nothing really, no controversy or anything. It's just something we have to renew on both ends.
Okay.
Motion to approve ordinance on 793.
I second his motion.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance 793. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. You know left from right?
No,
Steve?
no, I
Okay.
don't.
All right. New business, resolution 02-2001, a resolution ratifying an agreement between the County of Marlboro and Marlboro Electric Co-op Incorporated, providing $21,000 in funds for provision of infrastructure. Mr. Muller.
This was a pleasant surprise. I had a call from Marlboro Electric Co-op's CEO, William Fleming, about some RDA money, Rural Development Act money. We used to get this sometime back, and they had a little bit left over that they wanted to disperse, and called and wanted to know if we wanted to receive it, and I assumed that would be a yes from you all, so I signed it, and now I'm here asking for forgiveness and approval.
All right. All right. With that, do we have a motion for that resolution?
I make a motion that we accept all the money we can get. Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for resolution 02-2001. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Resolution 02-2002, a resolution approving a budget amendment to the 2019-2020 budget to establish a solid waste enterprise fund. Mr. Muller.
Mr. Chairman, when you take money in and then put it back out for a particular purpose, like it with the case of trash collection, where we collect the fee and then we pay the contractor every month for it, it's best to have it in an enterprise fund. And after consultation with our auditor, our external auditor, and finance staff, this would set that up. And so all it does is move money that was in the general fund budget into there, and also that money coming in will go into there, so we can pay the contractor every month. And there's some more information in your packets, but that's basically it.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve resolution 02-2002.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Discussion of financial assistance to indigent citizens for solid waste collections. Mr. Muller.
I had, some council folks approach me, Mr. Steen and Mr. Odom particularly, about would it be possible to set up some rules to provide assistance to folks in need that had trouble paying their trash fee. Now, what brought this along is that in the contract we had years ago with the previous contractor, there was a provision for no charge services for folks that were of this category. So I did some homework and found that, and talked to Mr. Sam Bass with the EOC, Chesterfield Marlboro Economic Opportunity Council. They disperse money for things to help people with light bills and things like that. So he said that they were open to, or the board, his board would be open to distributing the money if council decided to do such a thing and use rules that they have and rules that the council came up with. I looked at the rules they use, and they have a way of calculating your income based on people in your houses and that kind, in your living with you, that kind of thing. And then in talking with some of the council people, and actually had a meeting with the PD or the Indian Association. Mr. Levine was there, had a good meeting there. Mr. Odom was there. Just sort of happenstance came together. You know, and it could be set up to where it only helped folks that were on homestead. Their property taxes had become delinquent, so they were definitely there, and so on. And so what I thought best is to present you with all that information, hear what you have to say, and if y'all want me to do further with it, I can do that and bring it back to you for formal action next week. We would take the money out of the reserve. You know, as you heard a meeting or two ago, we have a reserve, we have the legal limit or the right amount, but you know, if you were to set aside $20,000 or $30,000 for this purpose, I think that would be a worthy use of that.
All righty. Thank you. Any council comments? Discussion?
Will EOC, is this a one-time thing, or they would do it continually?
Well, that's a good question, and I think that's a good question. We'd have to figure that out. I think the way they typically operate is once you have this, it goes and it's gone. My recommendation from the money you have to use for this is that it be here it is, and when it's gone for this year. And if you want to budget it for next year, you could do that. Taxes go delinquent, and therefore this fee would go delinquent on March 17th. I believe that's right. So you'd wait until then, and then maybe have you know, y'all could write the rule how you wanted to, but maybe have a 30, 60-day, 45-day period where you could come in and do it. But I think, I'm not trying to read your mind, but I mean, it wouldn't be something I don't think that you'd want to go on and on and on. Right. Because it'd be hard to administer.
Anybody else got any comments? You know, whenever we first started this thing, you know, we never intended for it to be a burden to any taxpayer. You know, we looked at options to try to split it up, and you know, and so that didn't work out. So I hope we can continue to work to find that. And this is just something to, you know, it's to try to help the people that actually it is a burden to them. So, you know, and because that's one thing we don't want to do. We've always tried to help and look after what was right for the people. So we'll continue to do that. And so, you know, if it's fine with council, I mean, if Mr. Mullen could continue to look in it a little further and see what kind of guidelines we could set, or what's out there. If there's other counties in the state that does the same thing, you know, see what it is and bring it back to us. How's that sound with everybody?
I'll make sure and get it to you before the meeting, so everybody has a chance to look at it and call me if you have a question or something or an idea.
Okay. Thank you. Up next is discussion and scheduling of an annual cleanup event.
We sent, it's time to schedule the annual cleanup event we've had every year, and the hopes were to have it before it was warm and the snakes were crawling, but I think the snakes crawl all the time now. But we sent a letter to the city, and we suggested a couple of dates. Miss Bundy, I can't remember the date. The two of us can't. March 14th. Oh, it's in the April 4th there. March 14th and April 4th, both on a Saturday. And the letter also, you know, we would work with the cities and the towns to make sure it had everybody's logo. It wouldn't be a county thing, it could be an everybody thing. And if we wanted to make the drop-off point somewhere different, if the city liked that better, whatever. And the only thing really we put in the letter that we really are, that staff particularly feel strongly about, is that let staff keep up with who's participating and do the sign up and get the bags out and all that. I know the city does it district by district, and it's hard to do that. At the same time, you all know that you can call and say, hey, Ms. Bundy or hey, Ron, I've got these people and we'll take care of them. So we haven't heard back yet, but I think they might have a meeting tonight, or they've got a meeting coming up to discuss it. So, I guess the question to council would be, is there a preference of between the 2 dates, the 14th or the 4th of April? It'd be a Saturday morning. We'd be through by lunch.
Well, the weather sometimes, from past history, weather sometimes is questionable in March,
Yeah.
And we said to have a lot of wind, and we have had a pretty terrible tornadoes years ago, so I don't know. I think that might be
What if you tried for March and have a rain date of the 2nd? Yeah. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. If we tried for March and have a rain date, did somebody else have something to say?
Well, I was just pushing toward April the 4th for myself.
Okay.
That's what I prefer.
I tell you what, I'll as soon as I hear something back from the city, I'll get with you all.
Okay.
And then we haven't, but we need to go ahead and reach out to the towns. They always participate, but we don't want them to feel like they're second fiddle to the city of Bennettsville and Marlboro County. Clive's been very involved in call, and Blenheim too. Okay.
Any more comments? As I was riding home today, all the trash cans out. I'm hoping that once we get it cleaned up halfway again, that it'll stay a lot longer. I mean, it's whether it does or not is to be seen, but we're hoping it will.
It'd be hard to have an excuse for throwing trash on the ground. I think the problem is people throwing it out the window of their car.
Up next, appointments to boards and commissions. Consideration of reappointment of Mr. William Simon to serve on the Housing and Community Redevelopment Authority of Marlboro County Board for an additional 3-year term. Is that come from them also, correct?
Yeah, that's one of those where they ask us to bring it to you all to do it again.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
You gonna do all of them at one time, or you just do individual?
We'll just do A, B, and C. We'll do each one of them separate.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. William Simon. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Next, consideration to reappoint Ms. Eloise Henson to serve as the chair of the Marlboro County Library Board for 2020, and I think the same thing they requested.
Yeah, they pick, and then they send it to you to ratify.
Correct.
I make a motion.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Up next, consideration and recommendation to the Marlboro County Legislative Delegation that Mr. Glenn Bunch should be appointed to serve on the Lake Paul Wallace Authority Board.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Up next, reports. Ms. Ainsley Moore, finance report.
Mr. Chair, members of council, as of the month of January, expenditures were at 52% of the budgeted amount for the fiscal year, which is about 6% under budget for this point in the year. And revenues for this month increased significantly, as this was one of the peak months that we'll have for tax collections. We will soon begin work on the fiscal year 2021 budget. We will be sending out budget request forms to the department heads, and we will also begin scheduling our meetings with the department heads to discuss regular funding needs, any additional requests, and any capital needs that they may have. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Mr. Marlin.
Mr. Chair and members of council, we'll do our normal thing of recognizing service anniversaries for employees. And this month we have two, Tracy Paulson with 7 years and Melissa Skipper with 24 years at the library. A couple of events. We have the community kitchen lunch that county employees volunteer to handle. Miss Ainsley Moore is handling one this week, and anyone wishing to help out should meet over at the community kitchen at about 10:45. Please note that your ethics reports are due at the end of March. We always try to remind you of that. I think there's a copy of it on the back of this report. We'll have the wellness screening for city and county employees scheduled for March 5th, beginning at 7 a.m. at the community center. This is means a little more than what I just said, because the city and the county are doing this together. So there's a real effort to try to work together with the city, and this is one of the first things that's happened like that. So instead of having two separate events, it makes good common sense to use taxpayer dollars wisely and have them all together. As far as economic development, you'll soon hear more about the Department of Commerce developing a rural initiative that'll focus on 14 counties in the state, and we're one of them. It's basically, they've been allocated $65 million and potentially getting another 60 to develop some program that'll help with the rural counties. The good thing is I've met with them, I went to Columbia and met with them, and a lot of the things that you've passed as these strategic initiatives and put out when we had a community meeting fit the kind of thing that they probably should be doing. So I've been able to work with them and present the strategic plan you have and some of the ideas that we have, in hopes that that some of the things that we've done here can be a part of that. You know, obviously the internet's broadband's a big thing, and that's something they're already talking somewhat about. Also working with Marion and Dillon County to see if there are any things that we could do together, and then present those to them together. The more we can work together, and it's stronger to try to sell these ideas. You know, you think things in the news don't necessarily have an impact on you, but we had 3 different Chinese companies come look at Marlboro County. Well, actually 2 look and 1 make an inquiry, which is a good thing. But they all had to set aside their travel and their return visits because of the coronavirus going on. So, you know, something a million miles away impacts us somewhat. Moving on to the administrator's report, the new trash collection service began yesterday, and so far we've had good results, and when there's an issue, it's taken care of quickly. And I'm going to ask Mr. Carabo to give you an update, since he's the expert on that.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, Waste Connection started delivering the carts on January the 20th. And they deliver them throughout the county, and they hired a contractor to do it. So the contractor was unfamiliar with the county, of course, so they missed several houses and some obvious ones, but you know, they've worked diligently to help, and we put some employees in trucks with the people trying to get the cans out. And if somebody called in by noon today, that they've been taken care of up to now, or they're in the process of being taken care of. I think there's 10 or 12 that they got to deliver tomorrow that were missed. So there's going to be some of those, you know, going forward too. To begin with, we asked all the citizens to call the county office, the tax assessor's office, or the admin office, so we can log errors or anything that was missed, so we can keep track of it in our 311 system. The good thing is the phones are ringing off the hook because people want that blue trash can. So we tried to oblige them, and we've taken care of, you know, everyone that's called in so far. As of 5 o'clock today, we've had 448 calls. At this point, we're at the point now in implementation where we should turn everything back over to Waste Connections. Instead of calling the county, we're to the point now, and we'll put something on Facebook and the website this week that, you know, if you got service issues or you get missed or get a missed pickup, you need to call them and let them handle it. And we were just trying to make sure that we got everything implemented correctly, and, you know, everything had a process, and we're good to go. So they started picking up yesterday, as everybody knows. There was 1,500 addresses serviced. And they finished about an hour early, which was a little earlier than they expected. And they had 4 reported misses, but I talked to the operations manager this afternoon. There was a couple more that called in last night, and they're going to do it. They're going to go back and get them tomorrow. So you know, that equates to, you know, less than 1%, like 0.25% of the houses that they addressed, they missed. So nobody's perfect. So they did make mistakes. I'd love to stand up here and tell you everything's perfect, and you know, nothing went wrong. But you know, things happen. They don't know the county yet. They're still trying to figure it out. So that was in the Blenheim area, and we had one in Clio today that we know of, and we think it was picked up, but if we'll follow up with that one in the morning. We had several calls for missed pickups, but I think it was because of the way the routes are structured. What they're doing is they're going down, if it's a long road, say number 9 or Highway 38, they're going all the way down, picking up the right side of the road. Then when they get to the end, they're picking up the side roads, and then they'll come back and pick up the other side of the road. So a lot of people see them going down and picking up cans, and oh, they didn't get my can, and they're calling in. So we're going to ask people to please just wait. If you don't get picked up, they'll come back the next day and get it if they didn't get it, if they miss you. And finally, we've had calls from churches and some citizens who want extra cans. The churches will get the same rate we get, and if they call in to the 704-758 5872 number, if they call Waste Connections. If they call them, they'll set them up in the system as a business, and they'll bill them directly. And everybody who's called thus far should have a can by the end of the week, all the churches. So, anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Just to be clear, the extra cans or the churches will have to be billed directly by the company, so you have to pay them directly. But we like the fact that they gave the same rate. That's worked well. Just a couple more quick things. We talked about strategic initiatives y'all adopted and the community initiatives that we've put out there, and we've been encouraged by support from other local governments and organizations. And what we're trying to do now is set up steering committees for each of the 6 ones that we had the signs for. So we may be calling on some of you to serve on those and make sure that we have a good group on each one, representing towns and cities and groups that have something to do with that particular initiative. So far that's going really well. And then finally, I know probably some of you all have been hit as well, but the flu has really done a number on our office up there and elsewhere. We've even to the point that Ms. Sumter sent out an email and said if you don't feel good, you need to go home. Because on our end of the hall, all 3 of us had it, and today we're back, but the ladies on the other end of the hall had their doors closed, so they're afraid we're going to contaminate them. But at some point, you got to come back to work, I guess. But that's all I had. Are there any questions I can try to answer? Thank y'all.
Up next, we have a recognition of citizens' requests before council. Have 3 minutes. Up first, we have Mr. Mike Goff.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, thank you for your time allowing me to speak. I come before you today to advocate on making Marlboro County a Second Amendment sanctuary county. As you remember, when you took your oath, you swore to uphold, support, and defend the constitutions of South Carolina and the United States. I'll start by pointing out Article 1, Section 20 of the South Carolina Constitution that has the same or similar words but the same meaning as the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. Both of those mean or guarantees a person's right to keep and bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed upon. I'm sure many citizens in the state of Virginia never expected their Second Amendment rights to be attacked like they are today. And luckily, many counties within the state of Virginia are already Second Amendment sanctuary counties. Therefore, their rights are forever protected against infringement. So even though Virginia is a few states away, we have local politicians here that have already tried to attack our Second Amendment rights. So as a county council, you have the power to protect your constituents and their Second Amendment rights by making us a Second Amendment sanctuary county. As Justice Cooley stated in his 1871 opinion in the People versus Holbert, he stated that a local government is an absolute right. That means if you can make Marlboro County a Second Amendment sanctuary county, no state or federal government can come into this county and infringe upon our Second Amendment rights. So I look forward to the progress you will make as a county council in protecting your constituents. May God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you.
We usually don't make comments about this, but I know this is a national issue. And with that, we've already been talking to our administrator, many council members have asked. We have a resolution from another county in South Carolina. We've asked the administrator to look at it, make sure it's strong, and make sure that I am pro-Second Amendment. I think, and I could probably speak for almost every council member up here, we're pro-Second Amendment, so we represent y'all, and so we're the same blood, we're the same people that y'all are. So usually we don't comment, but that is something. It's right here as a draft. We've asked Mr. Munn to take a look at it, get it to us, and hopefully we can have it on the agenda for next month. So that's just the way we like to handle things and move forward for our citizens. So up next, Ms. Barbara.
Ran out of chairs, so we have a few other folks come on in here. Mr. Chairman, council members, Mr. Administrator, your lawyer, your clerk, and citizens. I'm here to talk to you tonight about a prospective Boys and Girls Club in Marlboro County. I have asked and will be hopefully on the agenda for in March, but I wanted to give you a little heads up and let you know what we've done so far. We are trying to present an overall plan to develop a Boys and Girls Club in Bennettsville and to request a financial contribution from the county on an ongoing basis, at least 3 years, in order to properly establish the club. We believe, and I'm sure you all will agree with me, that there is a pressing need to provide an after-school venue for the children of Marlboro County that enriches their lives through tutorials, art, music, physical education, and fun. Our approach, will be one of learning through doing and being actively and physically engaged. It's not going to be a sit-down situation. Most grants are matching grants, and we need a financial base of $35,000 as our starting point and to make us eligible for the most promising grant funds. Now that I've heard about Bill Fleming and his proposal to y'all, I won't take anything from you, but I think we'll certainly approach them. We're seeking financial contributions from individuals, corporations, small businesses, county and city councils, and other entities who have an interest in providing our children with after-school safe places to learn and have fun. We are planning to have more than one venue. Our proposal is different from many because we are a rural county. And what we would like to do is to have the venues where the children can actually walk after school, or to cooperate with some entities that have transportation that can provide it for us, because transportation is a huge issue. Once we may have more than one in Bennettsville. We're looking at Eastside, we're looking at the King Street School, we're looking at 2 churches, trying to get the best deal for us in terms of financial outlay and protection. Has to be DHEC approved, all of that kind of thing. And then we plan to extend this throughout the county. We have already had some contacts from Clio who are interested in this, and they think they may have a site. But we've got to start first where we have the most children in need, and then expand out from that. And I will bring you more information when I meet with you next month. But I did want to say there are at least 2 steering committee persons with me tonight who just wanted to express support for a Boys and Girls Club in Marlboro County. And we have Ms. Bernice Johnson, who is a membership chair, and we have Mr. Sammy Crosland, who is on the steering committee. And we've approached the sheriff's office as well because we want our young men and young women to have the opportunity to have that guidance. So we're going to be looking for volunteers as well as paid staff. We are required to have certified teachers to do tutorials. So the money will go straight to that. It won't go to anything else but running it. I thank you for your time and your interest, and I'll see you next month.
All right, thank you.
Take care. You want to see?
We usually, On that Second Amendment thing, I seen where Mr. Bud Skipper has signed up. He was here 3 minutes before. We've been here 35 minutes. We want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity. You're good? Would you like to say something? I mean, we want to make sure that we hear our citizens. You were here above, and like I said, and you were the only other one that signed up.
I'm gonna speak from the heart. I'm not really gonna, I don't really have any points or anything. You know, our Second Amendment rights are being chipped away every day, somehow, some way, by some sort of definition of what an assault rifle should be or a pistol should be. You know, can we have this? Can we have that? Every gun law is an infringement. Every day. If one bullet more in a magazine, or this barrel's longer than that one, if that ever comes here and we're not a Second Amendment sanctuary, I won't comply. I'll be a criminal. That's just the way it is. State, federal, it doesn't matter. And I'm not the only one. Anybody, any of these people sitting in here, they've got guns, y'all got guns, I've got guns. And this is something I feel very, very strongly about. And this is very, very near and dear to me. There are lots and lots of people who have died, shed blood, might not, for combat tools. You know, I mean, they've been there. They fight the evil that we don't get to see. But right here in this country, there's a lot of evil. There's a lot of local senators, congressmen, congresswomen, but they're all infringements. We're free people. I'm a free man. There are free women in here. We're all free. We shouldn't have to ask permission for anything. We poured tea in a harbor over taxes. We told the king to go back to England. So, I won't comply. Nobody will. It is paramount that we make this a two-way sanctuary. Sweeping legislation is happening every day. There are people being oppressed over a gun. It's a tool no different than a screwdriver, an axe, anything. And it's time to stand up. There are lots of people standing up, and we're going to be one of them too. They're not going to do to me what they're doing to everybody else. And I would use my guns to protect myself. I'd use my guns to protect anybody in here. And if it came down to it, with gun violence, any kind of active shooter, mass shooting, anything, I would give up my life for any of y'all, just as I hope that y'all would do for me. And I would protect y'all with my gun just like I would hope y'all would do for me. And I mean that. That's the honest truth. I would try to save your life, your child, or anybody. Somebody snatching a child, the sheriff, chief deputy, anybody. My brother sitting back there, Ron, Mr. Mullen, excuse me. But I want y'all to know that this is a very, very, very big deal. And it doesn't just affect me. It affects everybody. Not just the people in this room, everybody. I've got a right to protect my family. I've got a right to protect y'all. They have a right to protect citizens. And I would do it just like anybody else. I would gladly give up all sorts of things if it doesn't mean I have to give those up. And I won't. They'll just have to roll me away in a body bag and then collect them. And nobody's going to comply. Not here, not anywhere. Not a real American won't. We're free people. So we need to stay free.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
all I want to say.
All right. Thank you. Start with Mr. Odom.
First thing, I'd like to appreciate all the crowd here tonight. I think we got close to 40 people. It's a great crowd, great to see citizens involved in the government of our county. On the Second Amendment sanctuary, myself and Mr. Goff, we had some long conversations over the weekend. I did some research on it. This afternoon, I had a half-hour conversation with Sheriff Kersey over in Marlboro, in Scotland County. and they brought it before council last week, and it was tabled same way, basically what we're doing, so we can research it and get a resolution drawn up. 23 counties out of 67 counties in Virginia has already passed it. Every bit of this comes from the restrictive gun laws of Governor Ralph Northam in Virginia. He's got the whole country in an uproar, even though it's only one state. But believe me, Sheriff Kersey said that before it's all over with, all 100 counties in North Carolina will be Second Amendment sanctuaries. In South Carolina, I think Kershaw is the first county, or I think it's been brought up. The Second Amendment, it allows you to protect your family, friends, property at your house, and it shouldn't be infringed upon. The Constitution says it pretty clear. The forefathers, they didn't say what kind of weapon it has, it just said arms. They knew that weaponry will change and improve. If it takes an AR-15 for you to protect your family against hoods with AR-15s, well, that should be your right. And that's all I'm going to say. We've got a lot more work to do on it, but it's just a resolution. We aren't changing any laws. The resolution just says that we will uphold the Second Amendment Constitution of the United States, and that is it. It's not a new law. It just says that we're going to comply with the Constitution and the Second Amendment of the United States. That's all I got to say.
I just want to echo that, and I agree completely, and I want to thank Marlboro Electric Co-op for helping us out, and really appreciate that, and just thank them for that. So.
And that's where I was going to start at also, Marlboro Electric Co-op. We really appreciate the donation that they made to us. It means a lot. The next thing is Ms. Groom, the library. I think I seen you about a week ago, and I said to you, the job that y'all doing, y'all do a terrific job. And we all are very proud of what y'all doing. That means a lot. The other thing is the census. The census is really a big thing that's going on. Everybody needs to participate in that. If you got somebody in your house, a cousin, friend, whoever, and they staying with you, put their name down. Nobody's going to come at you saying, well, you get food stamps, so therefore you can't have them in there. You do this and you don't. It's not like that. Anyone that's staying in your house, put their name down. This makes all the difference in the money that we'll have coming into our county. Our population have dropped real low, but we got a lot of people here that's not accounted for. We need everybody to be accounted for. That is extremely important. So we all need to stick together and do that, all right? It's just a lot of good things that's going on in the county. Our cleanup campaign, that's going to work out for everybody. But we all got to come together as a family and get these things done. This is important.
Mr. Mitchell.
I'd like to also thank Marlboro Electric Co-op for the funds for infrastructure. And I'd like to thank our speakers, Mike Goff, Buzz Skipper, and Barbara Hanesian for coming tonight and addressing council. Appreciate y'all being here. I'd like to commend Bobby Grooms for the great job you're doing with the library. And also to the staff, Ron, staff, Doug, for the transition on the trash service to Waste Connections. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
I also like to commend Ms. Groom for the job you're doing at the library and the atmosphere that you feel when you go in there. The people talk about how, when they enter the library, how friendly the folks are and how nice they're being treated. So I'd like to say thank you for all you're doing, okay? The other thing is, everything is on my end, and the people that I've talked to have been talking about the trash collection. They seem to, on my end, it seem like they like the idea of the cans and everything, so it seems like everything's going good. And Mr. Cabot, you're doing a great job. Appreciate all the hard work you do and keeping everything straight. I know you sweat a while sometime, but you come out okay. You do all right. Everything's going good. And Miss Lawyer, Miss Anasia, Lawyer Anasia, was talking about the Boys and Girls Club that you're trying to get started. I hope that works out for you. I see a need here in Marlboro County for it, and I'm with you 100% on that. to try to help you all I can. You know, I really appreciate that. So I don't have anything else.
Go in that backyard and dig up that money. Give me Miss Barbara. Give me Miss Barbara. Doug, like I say, I know with the staff and the trash been a big deal. We've been getting a lot of phone calls pre-February 10th, and I'm glad that the 10th came and gone. So, you know, we can move forward, and like I said, a lot of people got very satisfied, going to be satisfied. Ms. Grooms, you know, 5 years, half, you know, 10 years, it's just amazing. 10 years gone so fast. And you've been there for 5 years, like I say, time just flies by. We never know. Sheriff Department, I know you got an up and coming busy year. We continue to hope that crime stay low. Me, myself, and the citizen of Claudia, we got kind of down. As many of y'all know that the Bank of Claudia closing down. So we know how the people in McCall felt when that tragedy came, and now Claudia facing the same blunt. It's just so hard that when any town lose an establishment like a bank, and Claudia Bank has been there since 1903, and losing that. And one thing that we made some contact to the power to be, but when you have a bank and senior citizens are very familiar with that teller, and we know that everybody cannot count, especially way back in the days, they 80, 90 years old, they go to that teller, and the teller know exactly how they want their money back, so they know how to spend. And unfortunately, the power to be don't understand the importance of a bank in a small area. If we look at that, we're gonna have a whole county, and the only bank that's in Bentonville. You know, that's sad. That everybody gotta go to Bentonville to get them to catch a check or whatever. And the next thing we know, these check catching places gonna come in towns of McCall and Clio, and they're gonna rip us off. Now we got 2 businesses. You know, we got Aries coming to Clio. Now they got to go to Benfield or Dillon and catch a check. You know, Tiger Mart, when they do the money drop, Dollar General, they got to go way to Benfield. You know, and when you live in the city of Raleigh and Columbia, you know, around every corner there's a bank. You know, they don't think about small people like us. But yet, when they need, the small people will make the world go round. You know, but like I say, that's something that, of course, we have to deal with life. We have to deal with it. It's kind of gut wrenching when we think about it daily. And I know the citizens of McCall, I know y'all, what the thing y'all went through, and now we all got, you know, we going through the same thing. But that's about it, you know, on the Clio end.
All right, thank you. Sheriff, would you like to say something before we?
I just want to say I thank the council for what they have done, and if there's anything I can do to help y'all, me and my department, we will do that for you. Thank you.
Just echo just what everybody said. You know, Ms. Grooms, I mean, thank you for what you're doing at the library. I mean, almost 200 visits a day. That's a lot of people. You know, I never thought that many people went still to the library. Whenever you got that, you know, I just never thought you'd have 200 people a day going to the library. So, you know, that's still a lot. So thank you for it. And it's a treasure we have here in the center of Marlboro County. I mean, we try to focus everything around the spot, I guess the hub, you know, so it's good that we can continue to do that. So we thank Marlboro Electric for the $21,000, and you know, if Mr. Mullen can find another $21,000, go ahead and get it, and we'll okay it next meeting too. So we'll keep moving with that. Thank the staff for all the hard work with the trash cans. You know, it's been almost like a nightmare. Some of the old blue ones were blue ones. You've seen them turn upside down. There's trash and everywhere. So hopefully, it's probably be a headache for maybe even another month. But you know, I think once it gets established and everybody has it, hopefully our county can get cleaned up. You know, I drive back and forth from Wallace to Bennettsville every day, and Highway 9, it just, you know, whenever it beats traffic that comes in, I mean, you know, it's littered pretty bad. I mean, it looks like, you know, the trash truck's been dumped up and down Highway 9, you know, and that's the first thing you see when you get in our county, and we're better than that. You know, can't help what people does with a McDonald's bag or a Hardee's bag. That's a lot of things you see, but a couch in a median or a mattress, I mean, we can help that, and you know, we have to help ourselves if we want somebody else to come in and help us too. So thank the Sheriff's Department for everything they're doing. thank everybody for coming out. You know, as we said, you know, the Second Amendment, if you see it, it's all over the news. So, like I said, we thank Mr. Odom for his hard work on it and our staff. But like I said, we do have a resolution from Kershaw County, and we've asked Mr. Mullen to continue to move forward with it, and we just didn't have time to get anything on our agenda this month, but hopefully next month we'll be able to get it on the agenda. So we thank everybody for coming out. Like I said, we enjoy having everybody here. So with that, call the meeting adjourned.